Hi everyone, Pablo here. So in this video, we're going to look at the DNA Center security best practices, focusing on the certificate side of things. So if you have your own certificate authority, internal certificate authority, you would want to install a certificate in DNA Center signed by your CA. Okay, so we have DNA Center in here. As you can see, one of the things is that the URL or the website comes as a certificate not valid. That will get fixed once you have your DNA Center certificate signed by your internal certificate authority. Okay, so I'll just log in there. So we have it ready. We also will need access to the maglev, so the SSH into DNA Center to run commands. So DNA Center, I believe as of version 2.1, introduced the restricted shell or the secure shell, where you will need a token to access the unrestricted shell. So you will have to contact TAG as of now to get that token to get extended access into that shell. Okay, so if we look at the guide then, so manage certificates, so you have some information in there around the what is supported and what is not. Such as RSA keys are supported, but no DSA or Diffie-Hellman or elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman type of keys. So just make sure that you generate only the RSA keys. So it talks about the certificate chain support, and then it goes here through some of the steps that you need to take. So first thing is create a directory within the home/maglev directory. So we're setting in there. So let's do make the TLS cert and let's cd into it. See that it's empty. Refresh here. I should have my TLS cert file or folder directory in there. We'll use that to paste some information in there, some documents or a config file. So before proceeding, just make sure that FQDN is correct. So in my case, it is. So if I put that in there, so that's my FQDN. So that's fine. If your FQDN was not properly configured, you may need to run the sudo maglev config update. It tells you there to go click next until you get to the maglev cluster details. So let me pause the video and get to that stage. So I have to click next all the way to the maglev cluster details, and that's where you enter then your FQDN. So I'm going to cancel out of that. We look then at step 3. So step 3 is goes through some of the values that you have to include and make sure that are there in the certificate itself. So just have a read through that, and then towards the end of the step 3, it gives a couple of examples of how the OpenSSL config file should look like. So with no LAN automation support and with LAN automation support. Obviously, this is what we're going to be using, as this lab will be doing LAN automation. So what I would do is open a notepad, paste that in there, and then fill in some of the details in there. So I fill them up, and I'll come back once that's done. All right, so I filled in those details in there. So now I'm just going to save that file. And let's do open SSL DNF. Okay. So if you go back to my console, I can then copy and paste or drag and drop that file in there. Okay, so ls, then we have the open SSL config file in there. Okay, so once we're done with that, we'll have to generate the key. Let's generate the key with that command in there. We have our CSR key, and then we have to generate then the CSR or the certificate signing request. Okay, so new key, and then I'll just put this as a lowercase. And we have then our DNAC CSR. I'm going to refresh here. I'm going to do is copy this into my local folder. Download that. I'll put it in downloads. I see it coming up in my downloads in there. We can use that file then to send to the certificate authority. Just open here, CA CSR, copy that CSR in there. That's what we're going to use then to sign that request. So before we do that as well, so if I do an ls in there, I have a DNA center config file, which I think I have configured correctly. In the requests part, then I'm setting up some values in there, as well as the DN for the request. I'm setting some default values in there as well. And I'm going to be adding then the extensions. So those extensions I have taken from the file in the security best practices. So just mirror that. Version 3 request. So these are the extensions. I copied and pasted that into this file in there. And again, DNS extensions as well as the IP addresses. In my case, I don't have a VIP. I only have the physical interface IP address for the enterprise port, and the cluster port is in there as well. As you've seen from the list or from the sample files, if you have one DNA center or three, you'll have to include all those IPs. And depending how many port interfaces you're using, you'll have to populate those for enterprise, cluster, GUI, and cloud port respectively. Okay, so we can sign that CSR with the root CA. So we can do OpenSSL CA. We'll give it a config file, which is the DNAC config file. So the extensions will be E3 rec. So extensions, and then it goes down to this part in here. I'll paste those in here. The certificate I'm going to use is my root VA certificate. So that I have it in the folder certs, root CA. I'm going to use a key file, which is my private key for the root CA. That's in private, root CA key. I'm going to pass then the CSR from DNA Center, which is in CSR folder, DNAC CSR. And we're going to out a new cert called DNAC cert. I think that should be okay. Let's sign that and let's explore data certificate there. So OpenSSL X509 in inserts DNAC cert, and let's do no out and text. So we see in the X509 version 3 extensions, so for the SAN fields, the DNS that we've entered in there, as well as the IP addresses for the enterprise port and the cluster port. If you go up here, so the subject would be the DNA center details, and for the issuer would be then my root CA certificate authority. So that looks okay. Lost access to the CLI. Just logged in there by entering the token. I had paused the video to enter that token in there. So let's go back to our step-by-step guide. So here in the guide, it's using, for example, Microsoft CA, so using the Windows Server. So next is we need to provide the full certificate chain. So we're going to jump to step 10. So we have the chain, CA chain in loose files, which is my root CA certificate. Now we have the DNA center certificate. So what we're going to have to do is concatenate the two of them, one after the other, with the certificate for DNA center first, followed by the root CA cert. Okay, let's do that. If we go to the root CA, so we will have to cat certs root CA certificate, and also cat new certs DNAC. So we're going to concatenate the two together. So we'll grab the DNA center certificate, copy that, and let's open a new in here. And then let's add the root CA certificate. Copy that and paste it in here. We have the DNA center certificate on top and the root CA certificate below. So let's say that. Do it in new certs. And we'll name it DNAC chain cert. Or let's put it as a PEM file because I think that's what DNA Center will expect. Okay, so we can do add new certs DNAC chain, and they're both in there. So DNAC certificate and root CA certificate. I will do is I will paste that in my local computer in my downloads folder, and then we can go back to the guide. So copy that file. Okay, so copy into our local system, and then we have to import it into DNA Center. And so let's go to System Settings and System Certificates. Log in here, System Settings, and let's search here for System Certificates. So click replace certificate, do that. And following, so in the certificate area, click PEM radio button. We'll have to import the DNA, the certificate chain in the certificate side, and we'll have to import the private key. So I didn't copy the key from the maglet, so we'll have to get back there. CLSR and the CSR key. And let's actually hit download in there. Go to my downloads. Okay, I have it now. And we'll do PEM on the certificate side. And we're going to import the chain, so DNAC chain, and the private key, then the CSR tag key. Okay, it's not encrypted. We didn't put any password into it. Let's hit upload. If we go back to our steps, click now in the encrypted field and click upload or save in this case. Let's save that and let's continue in here. It's common name does contain. Well, let's see once it comes back. Try to log back in. Back to our certificates. So we see it's untrusted authority, so we may need to add the root certificate into the trusted trust pool. So let's do that here. Let's click import. It takes a couple of formats, so either PEM or CERT. I have my root CA certificate that I had downloaded in my local folder. I hit import in there. What's been imported? If I click refresh in there, should be able to see it somewhere there. It's a 14-page. Must be somewhere in there. It's actually valid from. Oh yeah, that's the one that we had. I had imported just now. Okay. We go to system certificate. So yeah, now we can see the authority has moved from not trusted to the details of the authority. If we refresh the page now, and we can see there in the URL, then our connection is secure. And we can see the details of that certificate. So we see the certificate chain DNA center being signed by the CA, which is that one in my case. If we go down to the SAN, we can then see the details that were that we had put in the OpenSSL config file. Okay. All right. So with that certificate now installed, if we look at our guide here for a second and we go back to manage certificates, there's a note in there that says that once your certificate is signed by your internal CA or from a root CA, this happens, devices need to reestablish a trust. So for any connections that are already established, they're not impacted. So any devices that are in inventory, the certificate will be reprovisioned via device controllability. If we go to one of the devices, so let's say port 1, go out here to inventory. Let's select one of those, so port 1, for example. So show crypto PKI trust pool or trust point. We'll see the trust point DNAC-CA has now the new information that we had from the certificate that we have installed in there. Okay, so I think that pretty much is the process to install a certificate signed by your internal CA. So I hope that was useful. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out directly to me or posting a comment in the comment section. All right, thank you very much. See ya. Bye bye.